Oh, yeah. Everybody hear me
And
okay?
yeah, we hear
Okay.
you.
My name is Nori Naraoka. I'm Japanese, so I have a limited English skills. So I guess Darian or the Greg will help me out. Um,
Your English is perfect. Don't listen to him.
Perfect. All right.
Very
Well, this is my first time actually. I have two kids and my older sons and daughter taking online classes like this. But for me, this is my first time teaching actually and doing online class at the same time. Um, so everybody has a little experience about the mixing, right? Like and I use Pro Tools. And anybody using Pro Tools? No. Logic, GarageBand.
Logic
Okay.
and Ableton from time to time.
Okay. I think every door has the same kind of feature like EQs, fader and limiter or the compressors. I think it's all the same, pretty much. So I'll explain with my Pro Tools, but if you have any question, it might be a little different to use it. So if you have any question, just ask me. And uh I have uh uh file. Like Darian gave me his project file, music file, like independent, like drums, guitar, and vocals. It's
Yeah,
in my file.
hey guys, can you navigate to Nori's the file the folder with Nori's name on it, or do you need me to put it in the chat?
So I want to use that.
Hang on, Nori.
All right.
Does everybody have Nori's folder, or do you need me to give it to you?
Can you put
Yes.
that?
Okay, I'm putting it in the chat now. All right, go ahead, Nori.
All right. So I will start very, very basic way to do a mixing. Because I didn't learn how to mix. I've been doing like maybe 20 years since I was like junior high. I I start with so much little information. I just put everything. There was called tape, cassette tape, MTL back in 90s. So I was using that, but it's all the same concept. Let me share the screen. Darian, hey Darian.
There you go. You should be able to share it now.
All right. Uh,
Was everybody able to access those files, the stems, so you can get them into your DAW? Okay, perfect.
okay. So I'm start from scratch. This is the files in the folder, basically. So I download it to my computer, put on my desktop. Now I open my Pro Tools. All right, Darian, I failed
What
to
happened?
share. I don't know. It says failed.
I'll try again.
Yeah.
You should be able to do it.
Let me do this again. All right. So those files are in MP3, which is a compressed file, and sound quality is not that good as a CDs. Nobody really listens to CDs, but it's compressed. It's small files, but I'm using this for folder for just class purpose. Um, First of all, you need to import all the files into the sessions. There are a couple of ways to do it. One simple way is you can just drop off the files into the session, just like this.
Hey Nori, we can't see your session. We can only see
All right,
where it says create.
my face.
No, we see something, but it's like it's not the session. So like when you share your screen, you have to share the session screen or share your whole desktop. There you go. Now we see it. Perfect.
All right. So I just drop paste the files right here into the sessions. And I think all has the same feature. Region page and the mixing page. Anybody have any questions so far? Like, I'll do like step by step. Or if you don't have a question, then I'll just go on. Darren is okay?
Yeah, man. I think they all know how to get stuff into the session. Like we can just skip all of that.
Okay.
And we can just go
Okay.
right.
All right.
Right. You guys, we can get right to the nitty gritty. Correct? Yeah, they all know how to do the
Okay.
basics, man. Yeah.
All right. So just make sure that you have a master fader. There's a master fader right here. Oh. I just created a master fader. And it all depends on the people, how you wanna line up the audios, the files. I like to put my bass on the top and 12 on the bottom, which means I like to have a bass on the bottom. And things like piano or the guitar on the top. That's all depends on you. It doesn't have to, there's no rules for this, but I like to do this.
So you're saying you on the first two, you put piano and guitar,
Yeah,
and then like at the
guitar,
very
piano.
bottom.
Yeah, I put the vocals on the top, very top.
Oh, I see. You put the vocals, the vox. Got you. So you put the vocals first, piano second,
piano or the guitar,
or the guitar second. Well, we have both in here. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Whichever you like.
Okay.
Vocal, female, male, doesn't matter. Guitar, piano doesn't matter. But after that, I put bass.
Oh, I see. So vocals, drums last.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. Y'all got that?
All right. I actually made these files pretty clean. So it seems like the region is the same size. But sometimes you record, the vocal this big. Or the, guitar this small. So I like to make all the files looks kind of same. So that means like, it has the same kind of volume. I start from here and just look at all those files just visually. I see something going on the guitar track, the beginning of the guitar track. Let's see if we can hear this.
We lost your share.
Yeah,
Okay.
came back. All right, let's see if I can hear it. So this is a guitar track. Everybody can hear? Okay. So it's obviously the guitar player started with some kind of noise. So I just cut this. Easy. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to clean up the tracks, each ones. I kind of clean up everything already, but if you see the drum tracks, these are drum tracks. You see the things right here. I think this is. Let me see. Let me hear. Yeah, I think this Darian checking the sounds or the checking the mic or something. So I cut this, right? And all right, let's just hear from the top what's going on. Okay, so as you hear, there's no balance of the volume. What I try to do first is just make a balance with the fader. Okay, you see the faders. I start from the bass. I need to decide the total volume of the whole mix. For that, I use bass. I just play a bass solo and see how loud this is. Okay, then I use the meter, and this is 10 dB. I usually set up bass to the 10 dB.
So you want the bass to be maximum 10 dB or?
Yeah, well, doesn't have to be perfect, but it's you see the green line right here.
Yeah.
So usually it gets like 10, around like between 10 and 15. That would be
Okay.
great.
All right.
Okay.
You guys got your project up going along with them?
See the master and individual trace track gets 10.
Oh, I see.
And the master fader gets 10 too. That's okay right here. So I can start from here.
Okay. So you're going by the master and the bass track as far as the volume goes. Okay, got you.
Yeah. So after you mix in, try to like keep the bass volume right here, right here. Then after that, you make a balance and everything. Then a mix should be at the certain level, certain volume.
Right.
So we can go on to the mastering.
Okay.
All right. So next thing I do, it's very simple. So we have a female vocal, male vocal, guitar, piano. But I guess this is just a mono piano keyboard. So it's only have like one file, which means it's monaural.
Versus like if it had two files, it'd be stereo.
It's stereo,
Right, right.
Yeah,
Of
the
course.
only thing we have a stereo is drums.
Okay.
Let's look at drums. Drum track. The drum track. This is actually Darian playing. Okay, so he set up the microphone for bass drum and snare and overhead, which means the two stereo mic on the top of the drum set. So it captures those mic captures stereo image of the whole drum kit. So I want to make this as a stereo, so you can hear, the toms like left to right or right to left. The hi hat would be maybe on the right side or left side. You can decide it later. But yeah,
Hey, Nori,
yeah.
Dominic, wait, Matthew was wondering what the BPM of this track. I can't remember what it was. Do you have it in the file?
No, I don't.
Well, hang on. Let me pull mine up and I'll try to figure it out. Okay, but go ahead. Go ahead. I'll figure it out in the background here.
I don't know if Darren used it
I
the
used the
click
click.
or not.
I used the
Okay,
click. Yeah. I just
I can
gotta.
find out, but
I'll look. I think I still have the original thing I did, but
some people use click, some people doesn't. Especially if you play jazz, and people might not use it, but more like pop stuff or commercial stuff. People use clicks. So I was wondering if Darren used a click or not. But so I made overhead stereo and snare center and bass drum in the center. Um, Usually I put bass in the center too. And if we have a mono piano or mono guitar, now I can try to make it like stereo panning a little bit. Just a little bit for now. And maybe the vocal too. So nobody's, trying to make it sounds like a stereo. Let's hear the drums. I like to hear more snare, so I just turn up the snare. This is only snare sound. Bass drum. Overhead. Okay. I think it's good for. Uh, yeah. Okay. So I kind of made a drum balanced, a little bit more snares, and overhead is okay. Now I put the bass. I guess we need more drums. There are a couple ways to turn up the drum. Maybe I can make a loop. I don't know if other DAW has a feature about loop. Maybe it is. So I'll
yeah,
just
Logic does. If
Logic
people are
does.
using Logic, you can kind of bus it. You guys know how to bus to create a bus to do groups. Okay. It's a little different than on Logic, but yes, you can do that.
Yeah, basically just instead of like turn up the fader one by one, I can make a loop, drum loop. So I can turn up the whole drums up and down.
Um, Hey, Nori, Brandon wants to know, are you talking about VCA faders?
BCA faders.
I think you're just talking about the faders right in the DAW, like the general faders, but he was saying like you can put all the drums into one group where you just turn one fader up versus 4 different
Yeah,
faders.
instead of this one, if you make a group, you can turn on and turn off the group fader. So there's a way you can bass out to a stereo mix. That's another way to do it. I think that's what he's talking about, maybe.
Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah. Brandon, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do is this is only the beginning of the mixing, so I'm trying to be easy to set up, so we can come back to the individual faders on and off like very easy. So I made a group drum mix right now, so I can see like with the one fader.
I see now.
Yeah. So, but if you don't like the balance of the drum kit, you can turn off the group. So now it's individual. But for now, just showing you, I made a group to matching the volume with the bass. So as you see, snare reached maximum already, but I still want to hear more snare. In that case, I can turn up the snare on here. I don't know if you see it. Do you guys see it? I made a region bigger. It's 0 and make it bigger. Let's go back to the control. Right. I think this is good so far. For now, I mean, let's move to piano and guitar. I unmute the solo. By the way, this is solo switch. Without solo switch, you can hear everything, every part. If you want to hear only the one part, you can use a solo switch. And M means mute. So that means if you want to mute individual, just one track, you can use a mute switch. Like this. Okay, let's move on to a piano. We have a drum and bass. Piano now. Okay, sounds good. Let's go to the guitar now. Okay. Now I want to put the vocal. I want to see where the vocal starts. So the vocal starts the beginning part in the middle of a beginning part. So I want to just play from here.
There's a storm in the Gulf, and it's
This is a
headed
female
your
vocal.
way. You better batten down your hatches. Should
This
be
is
all I
male.
need to say. There's a storm.
All right.
There's a storm in the
That male vocal is like an octave above where he actually sang it for some reason.
Mm. So vocalists they singing kind of same melodies. I want to make it like panning a little bit so I can hear little by little bit from a right side and left side. So I made a little pan, little bit. Let's hear it.
There's a storm in the Gulf, and it's headed your way. You better batten down your hatches, should be all I need to say. There's a storm in the Gulf, and it's headed your way.
And
You
trying to
better
match the
batten
volume.
down your hatches, should be all I need to say. There's a storm in the Gulf, and it's headed your way. You better batten down your.
Okay, so this is the first step. What I do, and it's already sounds good. Like if the player is good, then sounds already good. And let's hear it.
There's a storm in the Gulf, and it's headed your way. You better batten down your hatches, should be all I need to say. There's a storm in the Gulf, and it's headed your way. You better batten down your hatches, should be all I need to say.
Okay, so it sounded already good, but I noticed couple things. Some of the tracks is little muddy, so I want to make individual track make it clear, so I can hear everything like crisp and clear. Usually, what I do first is using a EQ, graphic EQ, to cut the mud, but not too complicated. I just want to cut unnecessary low frequency. Like there's like roll oof sounds that human not even can hear it. But if you turn up with a like cutting unnecessary low, then it gets so muddy. All right. Okay, let's start from the vocal. I use basic EQ plugin. This is came with the Pro Tools, so this is a free one. So you can use any kind of EQ. It looks all the same. It's like there's line and there's numbers, and usually the vocal doesn't have much low. I mean, you don't want to hear any lower than bass drum or the bass. So I usually cut 200 hertz. Let's hear the difference.
and it's headed your way. You better batten down your hatches, should be all I need to say. There's a storm in the Gulf,
This is
and it's
EQ
headed
on,
your way. You better batten
and this
down
is
your hatches,
EQ
should be
off.
all I need to say.
Do you hear the differences? Maybe not. It's just kind of difficult to like listen with all those Zoom. Anybody using the studio headphone or the speakers? Sometimes like the usual like computer speaker doesn't recreate.
Looks like I'm using studio headphones. Looks like Cam is also,
Yeah, I'm using studio headphones.
and Brandon also. If you have headphones, studio headphones or any kind of headphones, you can. This might be a good time to use them so you can really hear the subtle nuances. Nori, those vocals, I'm gonna put new vocals in the folder because those vocals, something is wrong with those vocals tracks. They're pitched up.
Oh, okay.
they sound like chipmunks, but it's all good. I'm putting them in the folder right now,
Yeah.
just so the cats will have the real ones.
Yeah, my point is like trying to cut the unnecessary oof sounds first, so the tracks sounds clear and crisp. That's called a high pass filter. I'll do for each folders, each files. That's gonna help you to adjust the sounds easy, because without cutting the low frequency, if you want a vocal, like if we want to put the mid frequency up, it's always this low frequency come with the mid frequency. So I don't want that. I don't want this part. I want to turn up the only this part. That's why I'm using the see what's the differences. Like I cut this much frequency so I can concentrate on the mid. All right, so let me do this for each tracks. For the male singer, I do the same. I mean, if you have a really good headphone or the studio monitor, you can, check the low frequency, how much you want it. If you hear a little too much, low frequency, you should cut it. Okay, I cut the two.
And it's headed your way. You better batten down your hatches, should be all I need to say. There's a
If you see
storm
this is
in
too
the
light,
Gulf,
just
and it's
coming
headed
back to
your
the
way. You better batten down your
lower
hatches, should be
frequency,
all I need to say.
up to maybe 100.
Hey Nori,
Yeah.
sorry, we just had a question about the sample rate.
Yeah.
The sample rate someone asked is a sample rate 48. I'm pretty sure it is because I recorded this to edit with the video, and video sample rates are 48, so it could.
Yeah,
so it matched.
but when we making the files, like we made a files for MP3 for easier for download for everybody. Should I go back to the 48?
No. That's just they just asked the question. So you put it down to 41.
When I put in the Pro Tools, I needed to convert to 41 at least.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So they're 41 right now. Brandon was asking.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. You need to convert after you mix it, so you can choose the sampling rate in between 44 and 96, maybe 192. But usually you choose 44.1 for the CDs or the streaming. All right, let me go to a guitar. Do the same things, but if you play, if you like the heavy metal guitar, you don't want to cut so much bass. So the point is, you want to hear it, you want to listen it, and you can decide how much you want to cut the low. So you basically just scrolling the meter, and you hear the differences. And if the sounds doesn't change it, that's the where you want to cut the low frequency. This is too bright. Come back to the about 100. Or maybe even 80. So I'll do the same things to the piano.
In the Gulf.
The piano is a little muddy. And a little distorted. Well, let's cut first. All right, I set up like 130 for right now. Okay. And let's move on to the bass. So as you know, bass is bass, so you don't want to cut too much bass. Even the bass track, it has like unnecessary low, super low frequency. So I just cut a little bit. Usually I set up like 40 hertz. Below 40 hertz, we don't need it. And you don't hear the difference much. But thing is, if you play your mix on like big stages, like festivals, which using like big woofers and stuff, you hear super lows. If the mix has a super low, then you don't hear the upper ranges. Okay. And move on to our overhead. If you want, you can group overhead as a one stir track. I'll do it right now. Make stereo aux. And now what I'm trying to do is like make these two files into one stereo fader. In this case, in this way, I don't need to plug in two individual EQs. I can just use one stereo EQ to control both tracks. So you see whole drum kit on overhead microphone. You hear the bass drum and snare and everything, toms and cymbals. But you don't really need a bass drum on this track. Bass drum and snare. I only want to hear is like cymbals. And in this time, Darren didn't use a tom mic. So I want to hear tom, cymbal only. But I don't need a bass drum. So I'll just cut bass drum frequency. I set up about 80. So you can still hear a nice crispy sound of a floor tom too. All right, the snare. This is a snare microphone. It's a very good example. You hear the bass drum. So this supposed to be a snare drum mic, and you want to control only snare sounds. But when you messing around snare EQ, it's automatically bass drum is changing the sound too. I want to get rid of the bass drum as much as I can with the EQ on this track. This is on. This is off. I don't know if you hear much difference between on and off, but with the high pass filter, I don't hear much bass drum now. So I can control snare on this track. All right, let's move on to bass drum. Okay, so now I treat every single track with the high pass filter, and it should not contain unnecessary low frequency for all the tracks. So let's hear it.
In the Gulf, and it's headed your way. You better batten down your hatches, should be all I need to say.
One more time.
There's a storm in the Gulf, and it's headed your way. You better batten down your hatches, should be all I need to say. There's a storm in the Gulf, and it's headed your way.
Okay. Do you hear the differences?
Yeah, I definitely hear it. Nori, we coming up on. Do you want to go an hour? Or you want to go 45 minutes?
45 minutes. Like,
All right.
I want you guys to do like same things that I do, and I will try to write down um the number for the low pass filter for each tracks, like bass. You have, this is the standard number of
Okay.
the frequency, like 40 hertz is a standard to use it. Vocals 100 hertz. So I will write it down and put in the folder, and I want you to try it before you mess around the EQ. I want you to try like a high pass filter first,
Right.
and the mega balance first. Any questions so far?
So do you want us to send you just the balance and not EQ it?
Yeah, the first of all, like, I want you to like, import all the files to your session and make a balance with the fader. That's the first step. If you have a time, try to use a EQ for each tracks to cut the unnecessary low frequency. And I'll send you the note which I was using for like all the numbers for the each tracks.
Cool. Any more questions, y'all? Y'all know everything.
I was wondering, like, if you had like a certain, like, never go above this for each channel, kind of for the faders, like,
Um,
is yellow necessarily bad for each channel to
but
hit?
you hear it if it's reached to a red, it's very, very bad. I mean, you can actually hear it, it's distorted. It start distorting. So it doesn't matter actually for the digital recording days. You can turn up the total volume later, but I mean, just keep it in green area. Everything in green area.
There's a storm in
See,
the
everything
Gulf.
is green.
There's a storm in the Gulf, and it's
And never gets red.
Matthew wanted to know if Ableton is a better DAW to use to mix for mixing.
I don't know.
Okay.
But every those should be the same. Has the same feature. Some professional use Ableton only. Some professional uses like maybe even a GarageBand. So it doesn't really matter which is better. I mean, it's up to you. Like I grew up using a Pro Tools, so I can change right now.
You got too many years in the game.
Yeah, maybe like more than 15 years. So
Wow. Anybody got any other questions? I think because I tried to mix this also. I'm not really good at it, and I learned a lot just from the low and high pass filters. It really cleaned up a lot of the stuff. I know I was curious about the bass sound, like how to get the bass to really pop. I don't know if you guys are thinking about that. Cause or like how do you, for me, it's like I want to feel the bass more than it came through on the recording, like how do you?
Yeah. The people think it's, like if we want to have a bass heavy music, then just turn up the bass. But sometimes it just get muddy and muddy. You don't hear the lines, you don't hear the, like brightness. And so certain frequency that you don't need. I mean, that's more like advanced actually.
Okay.
But the first thing, like if you know how to cut the oof sound, then that's makes big difference.
Okay, cool. All right. So everybody clear on the assignment for Wednesday? So just so I'm clear, because I want to do it too, Nori. So tell us one more time.
So okay, put every music file into your DAW first,
Mm-hmm.
and make a volume balance with the faders
Okay.
and the panning too. For the panning, I mean, you do whatever you want to do, whatever you feel to do. Vocal, I just made a vocal just a little bit right and left,
Right.
and guitar and piano too. Usually drums, I want to hear, stereo image, so I want to pan very hard, very hard right and hard left. But it's up
Okay.
to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then the EQs, you're just gonna save that for next time.
Yeah, if we have
Okay.
time and if you have,
Okay. If we
skill
want
to
to do it.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
ask me any questions anytime.
Okay.
Email me or whatever.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're gonna take a break, y'all. I think the next class is with Will. It's writing and arranging. I'm not sure if everybody is in that class or not. Some of y'all might be with him next week, but cool. So everybody good? Any questions before we go to lunch?
And thank you so much, everybody. Just trying to do my very best to explain.
You did a good job, man. Scott, you ain't had no questions?
No, I'm in the same boat as most people here. I think with just trying to like really focus about